Let's tackle one of the biggest questions out there right now. What really makes an AI agent great? I mean, as these systems get more and more powerful, everyone's trying to figure out what that secret sauce is.
You know, the obvious answer seems to be just more, right? More data, more complex code, or just throwing a ton of computing power at the problem. And look, don't get me wrong, those things are part of the puzzle for sure, but they are not the secret ingredient.
The real breakthrough, that secret ingredient, happens when we stop thinking about AI agents like they're just lines of code and start designing them like we would a team of high-performing people. It turns out the very same things that make a person a star employee are what make an AI agent truly incredible.
And it all boils down to 6 key elements: role-playing, focus, tools, cooperation, guardrails, and memory. So let's dive in and break these down one by one and see how you can use them to build an AI dream team.
Okay, first things first, just like when you're hiring a new person, you have to cover the basics. You need to define their role and give them a really clear area of focus. This is, essentially, your AI's job description.
So that first element is role-playing. This is where you give the agent a specific persona. You're not just telling it what to do, you're telling it who to be. Giving it a role, a goal, and yeah, even a backstory can have a huge impact on the quality of its work.
And you can see the difference this makes right here. It's night and day. If you just ask for an analysis on Tesla stock, you'll get a pretty generic summary. But if you tell the agent, you are a FINRA-approved financial analyst, whoa, the response completely transforms. It immediately starts talking about specifics like the NASDAQ, market context, EV manufacturing. The context is everything.
So the key takeaway here is the power of those specific keywords. Using a term like FINRA isn't just for show. It's like a secret password that helps the AI unlock the right knowledge base and adopt the perfect professional tone. Being really intentional with these keywords is the key to getting way better results.
Now, the second element is focus. It can be super tempting to try and build one giant super agent that can do everything, but it turns out that's actually a mistake. Just like with people, specialization is incredibly powerful. By limiting an agent's scope to a very specific set of tools and info, you actually boost its performance and cut down on errors.
And here's why. If you overload a single agent with way too many tools or just too much information, it kind of short-circuits. It can lose track of important details, start making things up, what we call hallucinating, or it just gets stuck trying to pick the right tool for the job. The lesson here is pretty clear. A team of focused specialists will always outperform a single, overwhelmed generalist.
All right, so you've defined the role, you've narrowed the focus. Now what? Well, you've got to equip your new AI employee with the right gear and, just as important, the ability to be a team player.
This brings us to tools. Another classic mistake is giving an agent access to every single tool you can think of, but that just creates noise and confusion. Instead, you want to be a curator. You want to carefully select only the tools that are absolutely necessary for it to crush its specific job. And you know, having the right tools for a specific job leads right into our next element, cooperation. Because great work rarely ever happens in a vacuum, right? Just like a human team, AI agents produce way better results when they can work together. They can pass tasks back and forth, share what they've learned, and even give each other feedback, creating a much stronger final product.
Okay, we're at the final 2 elements, and you could argue these are the most important of all. We're talking about establishing the rules of the road with guardrails and building up experience through memory. Think of this as setting your company policies and building up that priceless institutional knowledge.
So, without clear rules, AI agents can go completely haywire. They might get stuck in these weird, repetitive loops, or just try to use the same tool over and over again, even if it's not working. And worse, they might just start making things up. These are the kinds of problems that can totally sink a project.
And that is exactly where guardrails come in. They are the fix. They're basically built-in rules and constraints that stop those failures from happening. They act like company policies, keeping the agents on task, preventing those nasty hallucinations, and making sure you get reliable, consistent results every single time. And now for the final element. Of all the things we've talked about, this one can make the biggest difference. I'm talking potentially more than all the others combined. I'm talking about memory.
Memory is what allows an agent to actually learn from what it's done before. There are 3 main types. First, you've got short-term memory. Think of this like a shared whiteboard for a single project, where every agent can see what the others are learning in real time. Then there's long-term memory, which is like the company's collective brain. It's institutional knowledge. This lets an agent learn from projects it did weeks or months ago to get better over time.
And finally, there's entity memory, which is kind of like a Rolodex for a meeting, remembering key details about the people or companies involved in a task.
So, when you bring all 6 of these elements together, role-playing, focus, tools, cooperation, guardrails, and of course memory, you get something that is so much more powerful than just a simple program that automates tasks.
You see, you haven't just built a system that follows a script. You've actually built an intelligent team that can reason, that can collaborate, and, this is the most important part, it can improve.
And that, right there, is the ultimate advantage. A truly great agent doesn't just get the job done. It learns from every single time it runs. It looks back at its own work, stores that knowledge, and makes sure that the next time it tackles a similar task, it does it even better.
So, that really leaves us with one final thought. Now that you know the 6 ingredients for a great AI agent, what kind of expert team would you build? What world-changing mission would you actually give them? The possibilities, well, they are just beginning to unfold.